Banana slam jam.
So let's see. You're against PL Anti-Mage. You're against like a 4-core triple invis or double invis, no team fight lineup. So I think this is like a primetime Riki game because the opponent just will never group up and you can probably just kill them all the time. So I'm not 100% sure why you went Ring of Regen. I think everything in game of Dota 2 is like valuable based on how much it helps you in a percentage capacity. What do you mean by that, BSJ? Well, Riki has 5 base HP regen. Like without the Ring of Regen, he's got 5 HP regen. So if you give yourself a Ring of Regen, that's helping you by like 30%. On the other hand, some carries have like 2 HP regen, or maybe 3 at the most. So if they buy a Ring of Regen, that's like a 50% to 100% increase in regen, and that can go a long way. What I'm basically saying is, if a hero is given a 6 stat, like they're given a ton of base HP regen, don't spend this much of your starting items on HP regen. There may be like very, very unique cases where this could be good, like maybe against a Venomancer specifically. You know, I'm just theory crafting here. But when you do item builds like this that aren't necessarily defaultly good for the hero, it has to be a specific reason. Like, if you're not doing standard shit, there has to be an exact reason for why you're doing it. And on Ring of Regen on Riki, I specifically don't understand. I can't process. It doesn't build in the item that hero actually builds. Like, he never builds Helm Dom or anything like that. Maybe you do go Helm Dom. We'll have to see about that. But I think this is just too much regen. Riki has no attack speed and no agi growth, right? Like, look at your agi growth. 1.4. A slipper of agility is 2 levels worth of agility for you, sir. 2 levels worth of agility. 2 levels worth of agility. Remember that, sir. I'll comment about that gifted subs in a bit here. Okay. So reasonable start. This is good aggression. Klinks does not want you to do that to him, so that's a very good start. This is way overextension. The way I look at aggression in Dota is based on how strong you think you are. There's like a line you can specifically go to where that guy's not allowed to cross it, and when he crosses it, you fuck him up. If they're under their tower, just let them go, dude. You saw the trade that happened when they're outside of their tower. It's not worth killing them, especially this early on. Like, what I mean by it's not worth killing them, it's not worth like risking something lane losing to happen by going for that kill. Every time they walk out of tower range, by all means, just fuck them up, right? But have some discipline in regards to, you know, knowing your limits. Think about your limits. You appear so far to be one of those players I've coached or replay analyzed and said, this guy's nuts. So on players like you need to recognize what the specific circumstances are for being aggressive. I usually just draw a line. I think if they cross this line, fuck them up. You know, that's how I like to think about it. Establishing that line's the hard part, but I think you know as well as I do that you are not supposed to dive tower 0 minutes in the game as a Riki. Interesting turn of events here. So this is an understanding of what's going to happen in the lane. BSJ, what do you mean by that? So let's rewind. Obviously, this is a weird scenario, but reacting to Dota dynamically is very important. What I mean by that is, in the laning stage, what it takes to be like a next step up from a divine level carry. Most divine level carries are mechanically good at like keeping lane equilibrium in a very normal lane. But, like, if you throw a wrench into the equation, divine players will just be like, you know, that's about the expression they give. So, BSJ, what do you mean by that? And I have to say that when the wrench is thrown into the equation, you have to ask yourself what the wrench means. You know, what does it do to the lane equilibrium? What can we do to counteract this in the best way possible? Sometimes you can just minimize the disadvantage, and sometimes you can completely negate it. Sometimes you can capitalize on it. Whatever. So let's see. Let's play this out. Right here. What just happened, okay? So your 2 range creeps are going to die all the way back here. Their heroes cannot tank melee creeps. So they're stuck over here, right? They're going to drag this creep wave up here. What else are they going to do? A Weaver and a Klink's going to run through a creep wave? Ranged heroes with like 2 or 3 base armor? No, they're not going to do that, right? So this Weaver is going to keep the lane outside of his tower, and it's going to sit right here. And because there's 3 melee creeps, maybe he's going to deny 1 creep. Maybe 2. Maybe 2, probably just 1. He might even keep it right here and then drag it to his range, deny his range, etc., etc. So during that time, you have to capitalize that Weaver. You have to realize that Weaver's going to deny this creep, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? You're not going to be able to run over here and fix that. But what you can do is deny as many or more creeps than he's denying you. And that's like a net gain from this weird scenario. So I'm realizing that his wave's going to get caught right here. If I kill off these creeps, what I'm saying to you is, if I kill off these creeps are going to stall his next wave, and then the lane, this wave right here, is then going to just meet the other wave right here. So you've effectively fucked your lane equilibrium by killing any of these creeps. I hope you see this, because what's going to happen is if you deny these 2 range creeps as fast as possible, you're going to sit outside of your tower range doing the same thing Weaver is, and then you're going to have a full creep wave that's denying this wave, while he only has 3 melee creeps denying this wave. So, for me, I think to myself, whenever a wrench is thrown in the equation, what is it doing to the lane? You know, what's going to happen? Well, this is going to go to right here. He's going to sit here with it. I need to do a mirror version of that somehow to reset the lane. If I don't mirror what he's doing, then the lane's just going to shove into his tower, and that sucks. So that's what I mean by dynamically adjusting to the lane. I don't have much better advice than that, other than thinking, hey, what's the lane going to do when this happens? What can I do to fix it? Getting creative. Sometimes you have to watch other players to learn this kind of shit. But what you did to kill this range creep is like the exact opposite of what you should do, and it is a big deal. You know, I'm just going to leave it at that. Fucking up the lane equilibrium like this is a big deal. Knowing what to do in as many scenarios as possible is the definition of Dota. Like, see what's happening here with the wave? See what's happening up here? Don't you just wish there were more enemy creeps here to deny this shit? Don't you just wish there were more? So, the great way you can learn is wishing there were more creeps here, and then realizing you hit creeps. So if you're going to hit creeps, think, hey, I want the lane pushed. Or if you're going to deny creeps, think, I want the lane pulled back. And say you deny too many times. What can happen when you deny too many times, BSJ? Well, what if you like triple up the wave and the enemy team just dives you at like 4 minutes into the game because you were denying too much? What you need to learn is, well, by denying, I leave myself vulnerable to getting dove. By attacking creeps forward, I leave myself vulnerable to shoving the lane too far, right? And this is an example of understanding what your actions will do, and you did not understand that in this case, and this is how you can learn. You know, you attacked creeps forward, suddenly the lane is not where you want it to be after this creep wave, right? I know I went into a long spiel about that, but it's not something I've gotten the chance to talk about all that much, so very important little lesson to learn there. Knowing what to do in every circumstance of Dota is what defines your MMR. The accumulation of your MMR is your knowledge of every scenario, including the laning stage. So obviously you should just free farm. Pretty straightforward lane. I think an early stick would be really nice against Weaver. Like this Ring of Regen could have just been the slipper of agility towards your Wraith Band, and then you could have bought a stick. Gives you all the mana you'll ever need. It's pretty value. You almost always want to go 1 on Riki. He's a fighting hero. He benefits from the 3 all stats because he has low stat gains. Like, I would argue the armor from Wraithband as well as like an extra Tango would do more than this Ring of Regen for you in terms of sustain. Ooh, careful with that courier. Your Jakiro didn't deward the push, so your mistake earlier of screwing up the lane equilibrium is even worse now than it should be. I don't mind if you had to push the lane, meaning that you were trading with the opponent and the lane got pushed because of it, and there was really nothing you could do about it. And BSJ, what do you mean by there's nothing you can do? Couldn't you have just not traded? Well, in some lanes, if you choose not to trade, you're just going to lose, right? So by trading on certain heroes, maybe like a Bristleback especially, or any hero with like an AoE spell, the lane's going to push, right? Naturally. And in that case, if your support didn't deward the pull, and your support just doesn't pull ever, there's really not much you could have done about it. Like, honestly. Like, if the pull camp's just not there, which in this case it's not, and the lane gets pushed out in that case, like, shit, man, you messed up. And my goal in Dota is to obviously adjust to any mistakes your teammates make as much as you can, but also just don't be the one that fucks it up. If you're the one that doesn't fuck it up, then things are just going to go right for you on average. Like, more so than the guy that does. If for the guy that's the part of the problem 20% of the time, and you're only a part of the problem 10% of the time, you're just going to naturally run into less problems. In this case, you were the one that fucked up the lane equilibrium, and that lane equilibrium mess up is why Weaver's level 4 and you're level 3. It's just that simple. Because what benefit you in this laning stage as Riki against these ranged heroes is that you can blink on them and chase them. And if they're near their tower, that threat no longer exists. You're spending way too much on mangoes. Look how much mana you have, bro. The most mana you're ever going to have to expend is 150. Look at this. Like, double blink into Tricks of the Trade. Why do you have to be full mana? I used to have this problem. This is a big problem that you need to get over. I had this, like, OCD problem where if I wasn't full health, full mana as often as possible, that I just, like, shit, I could have been playing this better or whatever. In the lane, you're going to expend resources, you're going to expend health and mana to trade, to CS, whatever, and only giving yourself as much as you actually need is a huge deal towards expanding your skill level and understanding of the game. Like, if this Ring of Regen was a stick, you'd have no mana issues. And then on top of that, you don't need 2 mangoes. Like, look at your mana pool now. Do you really need those 2 mangoes? That's just 140 gold down the drain. Maybe a clarity when you deliver your boots, you know? Like, maybe a clarity at that point. But, like, do you see what I'm saying by, even though it looks nicer to have this full mana, look at the hero you're playing. Think about how much mana you actually need. And then just don't solve problems that aren't there, you know? Don't freak out about things that aren't a problem. Sometimes you're not going to be fully healthy, you know? It's kind of the equivalent of when I watch lower MMR players go back to base when they're like 20% health and the entire enemy team is dead. I ask them, you know, what's the concern about being low health? And they'll say, well, I'm concerned about dying. And I said, so why did you go back to base here? And they're like, because I was low health. And I'm like, they're all dead. Are you really scared of creeps while you're at 20% health? It's like an example where normally being low health would be a problem. On certain heroes, being half mana is a problem. Like, that absolutely is a problem. But on Riki here, it just absolutely isn't. So little things like this build up a lot. Micro inefficiencies, we've talked about a lot so far, and you're divine, so.
Radiant's turret has been killed.
Okay.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh no.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Invisibility.
Like, obviously your Jakiro doesn't really know what he's doing. He has 382 gold against Clinks and Weaver offlane, and he isn't spamming Sentries and Dust. You know, like, obviously he doesn't know what he's doing. That's acceptable. Most people in my bracket don't know what the fuck they're doing. So if in your bracket, supports aren't going to do their shit. And just notice how I'm not really focusing on anything your support's doing wrong, because I don't really care. Nothing we can do about that. Like, you should never have to tell this guy to buy fucking detection against Riki and Clink, or Weaver and Clinks, right? So, just how it is.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Okay, got a kill. Very nice. I'd even consider buying Dust myself, to be honest with you. It's a little bit awkward, though. So we can't really leave our lane. We don't lane well against PL. So that's kind of just how it is. You don't have an option to really go anywhere else. I would say with Leshrac, you may be able to kill PL. So I would think to myself, if I'm ever going to go top, it would be to kill PL. My hero doesn't actually kill PL. Do we have any heroes that do kill PL? If we do have that hero, maybe I can look to gank top. Otherwise, I'm just never leaving my lane. Like that. This is the thought process I go through every single game. Do I lane well against this hero? If I don't, can I kill them? If I, what happens after I kill them? That kind of thing. But in this case, there's really no easy way for you to deal with this PL top other than relying on your Leshrac, which you could be paying attention to that lane. And I'm only mentioning this because bottom lane's kind of annoying for you. Like, it doesn't seem like you are happy to be here, you know what I mean? But sometimes you gotta choose the lesser of both evils, The opponent carries in a 1v1, you're in a 3v3. That's never ideal. His Lich is level fucking 7, though, so that's nice of him. Early level in Cloud, I don't hate it, but I usually try to avoid that. On the other hand, your Arc Warden just TP'd bottom. This is something I've seen now, I believe, in 2 similar leveled coaching sessions. You have to think about the map, right? Your Arc Warden just TP'd bottom. What does that mean for you? Would you agree, I hope you would, that you and Arc Warden are both farming heroes? Answer is yes. Is Arc Warden, so now at this stage in the game, really the way high-level players play is that they try to farm all 3 lanes as often as possible. So the next step is, can you lane against anti-mage in the mid lane? It's obviously a mid lane anti-mage for anyone who wasn't paying attention. And you're Riki. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with laning Riki against anti-mage. So, is Arc Warden a fast hero? If you choose to stay bottom after the kill, is Arc Warden fast and going to go back mid and farm it? What do you think Arc Warden's going to do after he TP here? Just think to yourself. This is the way you need to think about Dota. What's this Arc Warden going to do after he TPs here? Well, he's either going to walk really fucking slowly back to mid with his 285 base movement speed, or he's going to want to farm the lane and or jungle creeps. Are we pushing this tower with these heroes? Nah, that's not happening. But I know you have 2 supports that kind of push tower, but we've talked about this dead lane theory. You don't fucking push this tower. This is super awkward. So, your Arc Warden, he doesn't want to go back mid, but both of you need to farm. So, BSJ, what are you getting at? I think it's pretty obvious. Run the fuck mid, or TP the fuck mid, right? Now. This is you, buddy. This is all you. Well, 3 creeps. 4 creeps, 5 creeps, 6 creeps, gone, vanished, obliterated, off the map. But BSJ, I got the same amount of farm as I would have gotten mid as I did bottom. Do you guys not understand what I mean by efficient farming? Dota is a team sport. Don't ruin your game as a carry. What I mean by that is, don't TP somewhere you're not going to farm in order to give somebody else farm. That makes no fucking sense. You're the carry, your highest priority in terms of farm. But stop taking farm from allies when they can't go anywhere else, right?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Do you really want to constantly be contesting people in this lane? The odds are if you stay here based on the dead lane idea, you're going to keep having heroes randomly show up in your face. Looks like the enemy team's now given up after your team's 4-man to the lane. It's not like you have to stay mid. This is a dynamic thing. If you think bottom is your home, it's perfectly reasonable for you to TP mid, farm 2 creep waves, and run back bottom. That's perfectly reasonable. Okay. So this game's a bit weird. Bunch of carries in the game. You're a mid-game hero. You want this Diffusal Blade ASAP, but you only have 74 CS, heavily contested lane. Kind of has to do with your 8 to 15 minute mark decision making. Not the most efficient. I can respect that you're trying to kill this, but making a move solo in the bottom lane like this, pretty crazy to me. I guess they have anti-mage PL, so you're not really afraid of anything. So I guess it's reasonable. I just don't think it feels good to be here at this stage. So you naturally rotate to fights. This is a reasonable rotation. You don't have dust on your hero against Klink's Weaver, please, man. If you're a hero that's going to be catching people, that's going to be showing up to fights, I know you're a core. You can spend 80 gold to kill the guy that's worth 200. It's fine. You can do it. I buy sentries on Slark to kill wards that are worth 200. You can do the same. It's within your nature. I know all you core players, it's hard to convince you, but it's definitely worth it. Why would you ever show up to fights against Invis heroes if you don't plan to kill them because you don't have an 80 gold item? That seems pretty lame.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is falling.
You missed 2 kills on this Clinks, man. It hurts. It hurts. That Clinks just got away with 5 health, bro.
This is Game Duel. Thanks for playing Dota2.
These rotations are honestly fine. They don't put a ring of regen in your inventory, man. This shit's triggering me.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Okay. Took a tower, got a diffusal blade. Let's see where you go from here.
Dire are scanning. Radiant's bottom
Let's ask ourselves what our job in the game is. Can we end this game early? Maybe? Based on what's happening? We have heroes that do end the game, but can we really like walk high ground? I'm not sure. The enemy team doesn't really have very good team fight. Yeah, I would say I'm pretty much hunting anti-mage at this point. Still don't have dust. I'd say the dust is mainly for the Clinks, not nearly as impactful against Weaver, because he can just Sakuchi, obviously. I think you sweeping the map like this is pretty good overall. Like, you're applying pressure, you're letting your teammates rotate to take towers by applying that pressure. You're setting up, you're not showing. All of this is good. So this is an example where you killing that Lich. Let's be honest, once you kill this Lich, is the opponent going to defend this tower? Like right now, look at the map. Is the opponent actually going to defend this tower? It's something worth thinking about, right? And all I'm saying is it okay? Have you done your job? You know, in the midst of all this farming, or all this fighting, excuse me, we do have to find the rare moments that we can farm. So the couple questions to ask yourself in these similar scenarios is, if I leave, will my teammates just feed because I'm not helping them? If I leave, will we still get this tower based on the heroes that are left? I think Leshrac, Pugna, Jakiro can take care of this tower for you. And if I leave and I'm by myself, am I a liability? And that means, will I die, you know, if I go by myself? They have no fucking stuns, bro. So this is an opportunity to be as efficient as you possibly can on the map. Same thing as that first kill. Go TP and defend some lanes, bro. You've done your job. You did good here. This was a great rotation. Your team doesn't need you for this shit. Like, imagine if you cleared top, maybe 2 waves, got this Clinks out of here, you had dust, you maybe even killed him because you bought dust, and then you walk back to your team. Look at how the map's going to look if you did that. Think about bounty runes. Think about lane shoving so you can go to your next objective. Think about the information provided to you by pushing out the top and bottom wave at the same time, you know? That's what I'm going for. Max efficiency, max like rotation speed, processing what you're supposed to be doing as quickly as possible. It just would look better, wouldn't it?
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
If your Leshrac's going to show on a wave, you shouldn't as well.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Dominating.
Okay. This is another example. Same thing. You just killed PLs. The enemy team contesting you? Are you needed to kill this tower? Why the fuck are you here? Go kill someone else.
Dire's top tower.
Even, like, you could even just be scouting through here. You know, you may say, BSJ, our team wants to go high ground. Why not just, like, scout through here? Give some extra information. Maybe catch that extra pick off, you know?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It's not your hero's job to hit buildings. In this case, sure. You want to go high ground and hit some buildings? Sure.
Dire's top barracks. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top barracks.
Okay.
has fallen.
Let's see what happens here. We're going to smoke. You're going to clean sweep the map. No reason for your hero to show like that. Once again. BSJ, why are you telling him to show top that one time but not mid like that example? Well, your teammate was already clearing it, you know? So like in the first example, you were clearing a wave that otherwise wouldn't be cleared. In this example, you're a wave that's already getting cleared, you're trying to clear. I think it's reasonable. You didn't go Battle Fury. I would have considered it, but since you have Leshrac, you guys can deal with PL. Obviously, Arc Warden's going to have Mjolnir as well, so you guys have decent AoE damage. I kind of just see you showing on waves a lot like this, where your team doesn't need you. I see you hitting buildings your team doesn't need you to do. I see you not buying detection when that's your job. That's literally your fucking job, bro. Luckily, the Lich just walked into your team and died. The fact that you haven't bought a single piece of detection this entire game hurts me emotionally. My emotions are hurt, sir. I just want you to know that. Next time you think about playing as Invis heroes and you don't buy detection, remember BSJ is literally crying himself to sleep that night. I want you to remember that. The fact that you guys aren't taking Roche is pretty blasphemous to me. The first one, like, you killed a core and you walked high ground, great. Like, that's an example where, okay, usually you want to take Roche before you go high ground, but they just fed their PL and, you know, it's like a great opportunity for us to just force the issue. You guys didn't, like, you guys got to high ground and they were all just alive, you know? Why? Why is this such, like, a common thing? This happens in my games sometimes, too. Roche is just always better than high ground, unless there's like a specific exception to why high ground is just free or whatever. Like, even if you think you can push into their lineup, wouldn't it just be easier if your Leshrac has an Aegis, so the guy that, you know, sits on top of the tower and sieges it, if they kill him, so what, you know? Because he's got 2 lives. Imagine what that offers you guys for a tower push. Okay. Okay, anti-mage. Hello there, sir. Appreciate the free delivery service. Didn't even have to pay the fee. Oh, look, you guys learned your lesson. Don't know why we had to learn that, but cool. So at this stage in the game, everyone has 2 choices. One, you can corral them into base and then push. Or there's actually several options. One, you can, like, you think you have to get them in their own base and push. 2, you want to get them in their own base, but you don't feel strong enough to push, so you chill. 3, why the fuck do you have the Aegis? You're not the Sieger. I don't know, like, if your plan's to go high ground, why the fuck do you have it? That makes no sense to me. 4, that wasn't actually one of the cases in case number 3. That was just me flaming you again, because this is pretty obvious if you think about it. 4 is just pointing out 3, so we're now going to move on to the next case. It's not really that easy to catch them, but if we show up at their base, they have to show up. And I'd say this game fits that description. It's time to just barrel it down a lane and say, you guys come back to us, and we're going to wrangle you into your base by forcing you to come back. I have a dream that one day, carries of all colors will buy fucking detection against Invis heroes when it's their job to kill them. I don't think that's exactly how the quote went, but it was something like that. Damn, barely surviving. Your fight mechanics are pretty good. Your overall play, not so bad. It's your micro inefficiencies that have added up a lot.
There they go.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And we're just gonna wrap up this replay here. Let's see, do they win? They actually end up losing. So, To be honest with you, I could watch the rest of this game, but this has gone over my time. I'm just going to say that at this point in the game, when you're against this heavy of a carry lineup, you just can't really mess up. It should just be a crisp, clean execution of the strategy. I know you're only in Divine 2. I understand that teammates are going to do some crazy shit. But if you're not at least calling for that Roshan before high ground, this is pretty textbook shit, guys. You're Divine 2. Kill fucking Rosh, then go high ground. Kill Rosh, high ground. Kill Rosh, then high ground. Kill Rosh, then high ground. Kill Rosh, then high ground. Why? Why do I see this so often in my, like, 6K and below games? Kill Rosh, go high ground. Kill Rosh, go high ground. BSJ, who do we give the Aegis to? Well, if it's a map control Aegis, you give it to the guy that offers map control. In this case, you. It allows you to play super aggressive. It allows you to play up in their face. If they manage to catch you being too aggressive one time, you have Aegis. If you're going to go high ground, who do we give the Aegis to, BSJ? The hero that hits fucking high ground. Crazy. You guys gave the Aegis to Leshrac, or gave the Aegis to you instead of Leshrac. Pretty huge blunder there. At this point, the game is like bound to extend further and further because they have a bunch of carries and you don't. Your team is very mid-game heavy. Their team is super late-game heavy. And your lack of detection missed you like 4 or 5 crucial kills. Your Aegis choice, your series of objective choices, your choice to stick around on things you were already done your job. You know, what's your hero's job when you do that rotation on that bottom tower, on that top tower, all that kind of stuff. If you're not needed anymore, just get the fuck out, bro. That's all about like map movements, efficiency, closing in the map lanes as quickly as possible. If you're a hero like Riki, you can even like TP tier 3 and say like, hey guys, I'm TPing tier 3. If Clink shows on the tower or someone TP tier 2, he's dead, you know? Setting up kills. That's what I mean by that.